Thank you all for tuning in yet again. We got a pretty interesting one in store for you guys here today. So with that, welcome into Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Let's get right into it, and let's start with some Hall of Fame tracker kind of numbers here heading into almost the time that it's getting revealed. We're getting real close to the final results, the voting results for this upcoming Hall of Fame class for baseball. And anytime I get the chance to talk about Chase Utley, I'm going to do it. I love Chase Utley. Not only is he my favorite Phillies player of all time, but he's also my favorite baseball player in general of all time. I grew up idolizing Chase Utley. He is the man. I played baseball for so long, all throughout high school, ever since I was a little kid playing t-ball, 4 or 5 years old, throughout then. So I modeled my game, especially early on, after Chase Utley growing up, watching him play second base in a Phillies uniform. He's been really one of the best Phillies player of all time. So it's awesome to see him getting this recognition and really inching his way, not even just inching his way, but just really taking major strides into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Most likely won't get in there this year, but very, very soon, maybe as soon as even next year. With that, Chase Utley, he has a strong Hall of Fame case. Now, if you said this a few years ago, maybe you wouldn't have thought so. But now the voting is starting to kind of get into some new school type of things and kind of straying away from the old style kind of voting. It still is really hard to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. But Chase Utley, with this kind of new school approach, he's got a very strong case to make it. And you see it with the numbers here. Only his third year on the ballot, steady increase his first 2 years. Another increase so far this year on his third year on the ballot. Currently, with the ballots that have made public so far leading up to this reveal of the who gets in or who doesn't get in, I believe that is going to happen. The voting results will happen January 20th, so just a few days away. But Chase Utley currently, with the public ballots revealed so far with this tracker, he currently sits at 66.5% in voting among ballots that are made public. Now you need 75% of votes to be a Hall of Famer in baseball. So he's real close to that number. Again, likely not going to get in this year's class, but possibly next year's class. If not next year, then definitely I would say the year after. Again, it was a steady increase from year 1 to year 2 and now to year 3. Obviously, all of the ballots are not made public, so that 66.5% will likely stay around that number or even go down a little bit just when all the ballots are revealed and the total voting is revealed. So still a little bit of ways to get to that 75% or higher, but definitely getting more and more traction towards that number, and it's great to see because, again, Chase Utley, he played the game the right way. He was so great for the Phillies for all those years. Amazing guy as well, and just so happy for him. I can't wait for the day that he is enshrined forever among the greats in Cooperstown in that Baseball Hall of Fame. It's going to be great. So, again, not this year most likely, but Chase Utley is inevitably a Baseball Hall of Famer, and it's great to see. Shifting gears a little bit from that to kind of today's day and age and even just the up-and-coming players here in Major League Baseball. Chase Utley was the old, he's the past. Let's get into the future, the present, and the future. And MLB Pipeline recently released their 2026 top 10 right-handed pitching prospects for the 2026 season, this upcoming season. They will be announcing their complete top 100 prospects list in Major League Baseball on January 23rd. So about a week and a half away for that as well. Close to that Hall of Fame voting reveal there as well on January 20th. Just a couple days later, the MLB Pipeline's top 100 prospects for 2026. Now, they are revealing each top 10 by positions as it leads up to that. The first day was the top 10 right-handed pitching prospects, and we all know the Phillies have one of those top prospects, and that is their number one prospect, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, Andrew Painter, the young right-hander, the big guy, flamethrower, starting pitcher. He was ranked number 4 among those top 10 right-handed pitching prospects for 2026. Now, the 3 ahead of him, still technically prospects because they haven't played enough in Major League Baseball, but all 3 pitchers did have some experience and some lengthy experience for some of them in Major League Baseball this past year in 2025. Andrew Painter obviously has not yet played in Major League Baseball, so he's kind of really like that true minor league prospect on this right-handed pitching prospects list that hasn't had Major League Baseball experience. Again, he's number 4. The ones ahead of him at number 1 were Nolan McLean of the New York Mets. You may remember him. He had a lot of success against the Phillies in 2025 and a start or two that he had against them. Number 2, Bubba Chandler of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Number 3, Trey Yee Savage, the local kid actually, grew up close to Philadelphia with the Toronto Blue Jays though. He was a big part of their World Series run, and ultimately they fell short to the Los Angeles Dodgers, as we all know. But those were the three right-handed pitching prospects ahead of Andrew Painter in these top 10 right-handed pitching prospects for 2026. Andrew Painter, again, he's got elite level stuff. He has the potential to be really a Cy Young candidate year in and year out. Coming back from Tommy John surgery last year, this past season was his first year back after missing a year or two, year and a half, however long it was, 2 full seasons I think it was actually in baseball. Didn't play because of that recovery process, lengthy recovery process. Still, again, never played Major League Baseball, so he's still developing as a kid. He's only 22 years old, still developing a skill set, still getting adjusted to professional baseball, the minor league system, all that kind of stuff, still advancing through the minor league system. This past year was his first appearances in AAA with the Phillies in their organization. Kind of bumpy ride for him, up and down. Still showed some elite flashes here and there. Still kind of getting his stuff back, getting his feeling back for all of his pitching, timing, movement, everything. Just getting back in the swing of things of everyday lifestyle in baseball and their routine and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard to adjust, again, as you're a young kid, still making your way through this and figuring things out. But he's, again, very elite prospect. He's got great stuff, and I can't wait to see what Andrew Painter does here in 2026. He's expected, as we all know, to be a part of the big league club in the Phillies starting rotation, so that's exciting. Obviously, kind of a breath of fresh air for Phillies fans. We've been really wanting some of these top prospects to play for a while now. They need this youth movement, and we're going to see some of these guys in 2026. Andrew Painter, Justin Crawford, another one of them, maybe Ada Miller, maybe some other middle tier, lower level prospects as well that kind of have some traction as well going for them in the minor leagues. But Andrew Painter, not only was he the number 4 right-handed pitching prospect for 2026 here on MLB Pipeline's list, behind the 3 guys I mentioned before, he also was listed now they listed guys, those pitching prospects, the guys with the top tools at certain things, fastballs, different kind of pitches, sliders, sinkers, changeups, whatever it may be, command, control, all that kind of stuff. Andrew Painter was listed among the top for 2 of those categories, for 2 of those top tools. He was listed for top tool of fastball. As I said, he's a flamethrower, hard-throwing guy. He can reach triple digits, so there's no surprise about that, him having kind of an elite score there in that category, as well as control. Now, he did have some command issues, which obviously leads into control in 2025 as he was coming back from Tommy John surgery, getting adjusted, all that kind of stuff. But again, they still grade him as a very good guy with his control, good prospect. A lot of stuff to like about Andrew Painter's game. Hopefully we can see it here in 2026 with the Phillies, and hopefully he can get back to where he was before that Tommy John surgery, where really he was just lights out and an amazing starting pitcher, even at just such a young age, even a teenager at the time still. Also, Andrew Painter, though, in that list was listed as the top right-handed pitching prospect with the most to prove here in 2026 and beyond. We all know, again, kind of struggled in 2025 with his rehab stints, and then in AAA with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. Didn't really show what he showed before the Tommy John surgery, but again, did show some flashes and still showed why he is regarded as one of these top prospects in professional Major League Baseball, the farms and minor leagues, everything. So again, it's exciting. The full top 100 MLB Pipeline prospect list will be announced and revealed January 23rd. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, the Phillies will have a few more guys, Justin Crawford and Ada Miller, most likely on these top 10s. I'll talk about it when those get revealed. But for now, Andrew Painter, he is the number 4 right-handed pitching prospect on MLB Pipeline's top 100 and top 10 pitchers here for the 2026 season so far before the season starts, obviously. And staying on the trend of rankings and lists, the MLB Power Rankings have recently been revealed as well. The first ones of 2026, MLB.com's Power Rankings and ESPN's Power Rankings. Now, the Phillies shouldn't really be too surprising. The Phillies were top 5 in both of those power rankings. They were number 5 in ESPN's power rankings and number 4 in MLB.com's power rankings. We all know, including myself, fans though, frustrated with the lack of notable additions this offseason. We all wanted some major changes because the past 2 years have been frustrating. Obviously, great regular seasons, but the playoffs, early exits after a first round bye in that first round for the Phillies, in the NLDS first to the New York Mets, and then this past year to the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're a championship World Series caliber team, and just falling short and exiting the playoffs way sooner than they should. So we wanted to see some major changes. We haven't really got that to that point. They obviously signed a few guys, but also got rid of some guys. But still, we never really got that splash move that we thought could have happened so far this offseason. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but it really just seems like they're going to end up pretty much running it back with the same kind of group here in 2026, which again is frustrating, but still that group won the NL East for back-to-back seasons in 2024 and 2025. Had the second best record in baseball this past year in 2025. So it's really hard to get much better than that. Obviously, you just need that playoff success. They have the talent to do so. Just have fallen short the past 2 years. But it's really just hard to say. They need to switch everything up because of how good they actually have been when you take a step back and look at it. But they got to be more consistent, and that's the bottom line, especially these star players in these big moments come playoff time, which they haven't done these past 2 years for the most part. But again, they are still a great team. They have an elite starting rotation, a new look bullpen, which should be exciting here in 2026. The reigning National League batting title champion, Trey Turner, led the National League with his batting average 304 in 2025. That re-signed the 2025 National League MVP runner-up. Obviously, Kyle Schwarber, that massive 5-year, $150 million contract. You still have Bryce Harper, who was an MVP, all-star caliber player still. He's looking for it to have a bounce-back season here in 2026. And his offseason is kind of looking like it might happen, so that's exciting as well for Bryce Harper. They have some top prospects, as I mentioned, Andrew Painter and Justin Crawford expected to be immediate day one starters here in 2026. Adam Miller and a few other prospects also could potentially help out throughout the 2026 season, so that's exciting. They're ready to make an impact, some youth movement here for the Phillies, so there's a lot to be excited about with this Phillies team, although it might be frustrating on the kind of just looking at it from a glance, from a little different kind of perspective, but still a really good team, and they still obviously have a very good chance to win a World Series here in 2026 and could still make a splash move, signing, trade, whatever it might be. Right now, the big rumors are Bo Bichette, as we all know, met with the Phillies yesterday on Monday for reportedly the second time. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. There seems to be interest from both sides, mutual interest. But again, that's a big commitment financially and just long-term wise. So we'll see what happens out of that. Don't get any hopes up. It's going to be a tough move to make if they do so, and then it's going to cause other moves to be made as well. So a lot of moving parts there by signing Bo Bichette or making another signing similar to that or a trade similar to that caliber as well. Speaking of trades and speaking of not wanting to run it back, the Phillies do have possibly an opening at the catcher position. We all know that JT Realmuto is still a free agent. There's that kind of stalemate between the two sides for a new contract. JT Realmuto is trying to hold out for whatever it might be, more money, an extra year, I don't know. And the Phillies are kind of staying firm for their offers that they have made to JT Realmuto. So what could the catching position look like in 2026? If you've been following along here at Phillies Daily, you know that I'm kind of big on Rafael Marchand. I think he could finally prove himself here in an expanded role. He's never really got the chance to prove himself at the major league level. Obviously, sitting behind JT Realmuto, you're not going to get that playing time. But Rafael Marchand has a lot to like about him. He's still young. He's way cheaper than JT Realmuto. You could sign a cheaper veteran as well to help back him up a platoon with him in 2026 if he's not ready for that expanded everyday role. Or you can sign Bo Bichette. You get your all-star infielder. You got to move some other parts around. That means you're moving on from JT Realmuto because you simply don't have the money to sign both JT Realmuto and Bo Bichette this offseason. But then, again, one of those moving parts could be if you sign Bo Bichette by trading Alec Bohm, who's been in trade rumors the past year or two here with the Phillies. He's entering a contract year, so that could be another reason that they try to move on from him and get something out of him, especially if they sign Bo Bichette. So possibly a trade that could happen is Alec Bohm to the Chicago White Sox, a hypothetical for one of their young catchers, and that one young catcher, I can't speak today, that I think they should go after is Edgar Caro. I've talked about it before, the possibility of trading for Edgar Caro here on Phillies Daily. You can go check that out. You're going to have to scroll a little bit to find that video if you haven't watched it, but you can go see more in-depth analysis that I provided on him. But again, the White Sox do have two young catching options. with really kind of a bright future ahead of both of them. Under club control, both of them through the 2031 season. They're not free agents until 2032. Edgar Caro, he's 22 right now. He'll be 23 in April. Kyle Teal is their other young catcher. He's 23 right now, but he'll be 24 next month in February. They'll have to move on from one of them at some point. They can't have these two catching options. They both could be starters with the White Sox or elsewhere, so likely they're not in a rush because they're not a team that's really looking to compete right now. So you can play with things, moving guys to certain positions, DHing one of them, maybe throwing them out in the outfield, first base, whatever it might be. But if you want to try to get somebody like Alec Bohm in return for them, then I feel like you have to do that, especially the White Sox signing the Japanese star this offseason, Munetaka Murakami, the third baseman, first baseman, DH. So that's kind of showing that they're still trying to add and still trying to win, even though it's unlikely that they make any noise here in 2026. But still, maybe you make a move for Alec Bohm, and then all of a sudden you're a sneaky fringe playoff team. Who knows? They have some good pieces there in Chicago. They got some young pieces to be excited about, some veteran pieces as well. So you never know what would happen in sports. Anything can happen. But again, Edgar Caro, he has a lot to like about him as well. He's a switch hitter, can bat from both sides of the plate. He batted .268 with 17 doubles, 5 home runs, 36 RBIs in 111 games in his first taste of Major League action here in this past year in 2025 with the White Sox. 72 games as a catcher. The rest were at designated hitter or pinch hitting in ball games. Still developing defensively. He's got some good skill set and good areas of his game defensively. Still some other ones to work on. Again, he's just 22. He's going to be 23 in April, so still a young guy. Only had his first taste of Major League action this past year in 2025. But he has the tools and skill set to be an above average defensive catcher with more playing time and obviously as he develops and grows as a player. But he's also got a lot to be excited about offensively. So you trade for a guy like Edgar Caro, who's very young, under club control for a lot more years, and it could be your good replacement for J.T. Realmuto, and you still have Rafael Marchand as a guy that can play as well with a guy like Edgar Caro here in 2026. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Kennelly. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. I mean that. I love when you guys comment, even if it's just agreeing with me, disagreeing with something I said, disagreeing or agreeing with others in the comments. It's awesome. That's what sports and entertainment's all about, is creating discussions, debate, all that kind of stuff. It's for entertainment. It's awesome stuff. This is why we love sports. We're always trying to discuss no matter what it is. So don't be afraid to comment your thoughts, your opinions, even if you're disagreeing with something, saying I'm stupid for some kind of take I'm making. I really appreciate it either way. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, go Phils.